to sleep. Lay me down. I pray my soul is mine to keep. My soul can never step outside this bed. Never into all the evil. Now back from the dead.
Tell me the struggle is today. Woo! I've got the style and profile like never before.
Are you ready?
Yeah! I'm gonna find out one thing. You do not go rock at a man who's got a machine gun.
So Vince McMahon likes to rehash some of the old storylines and gimmicks, and one thing I don't like is he's constantly doing Randy Orton versus John Cena. Well, Randy Orton's not around, Cena's not around, so it's give us a break from that, right? He likes to rehash some of the gimmicks, like Bray Wyatt's gimmick. Everyone knows that was Waylon Mercy. Bray Wyatt did a hell of a job redoing that whole character, having a cult following. And that was something a bunch of us wanted to see with Waylon Mercy. But I would love to see somehow they incorporate Waylon Mercy being a higher power and kind of do like a Undertaker storyline with Bray Wyatt, because it seems like Bray Wyatt's going more that way, even though he's got this cult thing. We'll say like a Ministry of Darkness kind of style, which is really going on and fantastically done in my opinion. So, brings me to this thing that I was talking to with one of my friends. We were talking about Chris Candido as Skip. I almost said Zep, but no. So it was Skip and Simon Dean. Well, both of them were kind of like their own like promotional infomercial style going on. And we were trying to figure out who was better at doing it. Simon Dean actually took it to another level when he brought out that Segway or whatever the hell that thing is, when he's on the rollers and coming down and talking. And then you got Skip, which Chris Candido was a way better wrestler than Simon Dean, coming out with the muscles and had his like cheerleader, and then all of a sudden brings his half brother or whatever, Zep, and doing like a little stable like that. Well, I'm thinking, why mess with something that actually worked for someone and rehash it? Vince, I don't know what the hell you're thinking when you're rehashing all these storylines, but I also want to know what the hell you're thinking about having Monday Night Raw up to 3 hours when it's basically an hour and 40 minutes of talking and very few matches. Yeah, this is supposed to be a review, but just kind of just a go-off on how the WWE is actually self-destructing, and they're saying, you know, oh, Triple H is making it better, Stephanie's making it better, Shane O'Mac's going to make it better. It's not them. And I really think it's the creative control, the bookers, the writers, and everything. So, I mean, back in the day, it was Vince Russo who wrote some great stuff and some crappy stuff. Jim Ross wrote fantastic stuff. Some of the wrestlers came up with an idea and they went with it. Like SummerSlam 92, Davey Boy Smith versus Bret Hart for the IC Championship at Wembley Stadium. That was a fantastically done match. It told a story. There was heartache, triumph, tears, jeers. It was the whole package. And yeah, even though the Bulldog won in Wembley Stadium, the IC belt, it was just a fantastic storyline. You had Diana who was torn in between, and those were writers. Now, the writers now are just basically, oh, we're just going to do this, and we're going to run it for probably about 2 years. Well, the funny thing is, a few years ago, I used to go down to South Florida to go see some pro wrestling, and I'm constantly saying the same two people feud. You know, there's a lot of talent. Just combine the talent, swap them up. I don't want to go to one promotion and see the same match that I saw in another promotion a week before. So I don't understand why the promoters and the story writers can't get their heads out of their asses. I like to see something new. That's where ECW came in. ECW, even though they had the Tommy Dreamer Raven feud, which that was probably one of the longest feuds that was going on back in the day. I know it was more than 2 years. Getting hit in the head a bunch of times, it really screws up my memory, so excuse if my accuracy is not perfect. But Paul Heyman brought in wrestlers from all over the world, and he just saw the potential and put it all together, and that's why ECW was becoming this cult following, cult icon, whatever you want to say. And that's the way I want to see ECW. Not with Vince McMahon, I win the ECW championship and this is the way you're going to remember it. No, Paul Heyman was a genius. Paul Heyman can write some stories. Heck, I even was a Paul Heyman fan back when he had the thing in WCW called the Danger Zone. Yeah, it shows my age, right? And of course you can see the gray and everything. But wrestling today is just, really going downhill. And, I've been turning around, going to the indies to try to see what's going on. But even the indies is following suit with some of the matches. We'll say A and B versus C and D. They've been wrestling each other for about 4 or 5 years and doing the same match. It's the same storyline. They don't want to throw anything new in there. It's because the creative control ain't there. Certain promotions have it, certain promotions don't, and my ongoing joke is, yeah, even though my stuff may have been from the 90s, but you can actually change, the storyline a little bit with some of the stuff I wrote, and you don't have to have the same people constantly feuding. We want to see different. We want that options and everything. It's just it's just that I'm just tired of seeing the same thing. 3 hours of Raw, and it was great for its time, but now it's time for a change. It's time to see wrestling back the way it was. Matches. Have, come out, say a few words from the match. You don't have to do a 20, 30-minute segment and saying, yada, 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 XOXO, and yada, 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 XOXO. Yeah, we get it. You guys are feuding. You don't have to run your mouths about everything for over 30 minutes. Say a few words. Go do a match. You have the other guy come out after his match. Say, oh, yeah, I see how he did that, and I got to look for that. Can you please just get back to the wrestling? Real wrestling. It depends on what kind of fan you are. There's the hardcore fans. There's the luchador fans. We want to see entertainment. We don't want to sit there and fall asleep within the first 30 minutes of a show because somebody's constantly talking, and we're seeing the same thing every week, and it's killing us. Some of the indie promotions have got it right. Yeah, there may be feuding, but there's a lot of twists and turns in it between two of the indie stars. Right now, Vince, the WWE, TNA to me is a lost cause. They have some tremendous athletes in there, and no one can get their heads out of their asses just to see what's going on. All it is about the paychecks. That's great. You guys are getting paid, but what about us fans? Us fans need entertainment. We don't want to see the talking. We grew up with some of the hashtag stuff. How many guys got to be called cowboy? How many guys got to be called the bully or something? I just can't wrap my thoughts around what the hell happened. And it's all because, in my opinion, and everyone's going to disagree with me, when WCW and the WWE were feuding during the Monday Night Wars, that's when wrestling was actually raising the bar. And then as soon as Vince bought out WCW, it just went, and there's no competition. There's promotions out there that is competition, Vince, that they don't even have the funds to go against them. But the talent is there. I mean, Vince, you built an empire, yes. You've destroyed your competition. You don't have to buy everyone out because you feel threatened. You need to get some decent story writers. Now, a 5-year-old can write a better storyline with, we'll say, Becky Lynch and Charlotte with their feud. And, everyone's saying, oh, yeah, we're going to see the 4 horsewomen. That's great, but a lot of us don't like some of the people that you had for this kind of stable going on that you guys are thinking. Vince, do what's right. Give other promotions a chance. You took it to the level. You did what you got to do. You got, your family running it. And you're just basically making the WWE into a big joke. Now, I really don't want to talk much about TNA, even though I've been to a lot of their events. I met a lot of great talent, and I asked one question to them. I was like, did you ever think you'd be as big as you are? As a heel or as a face? That's the only thing I want to know. Could I run a promotion? Let's put it this way. I may not have the brains to actually do the financial part, but I think I have the brains to actually write a decent storyline. Like, I'd like to see NGJM take on Buddy Mantrell in a Chicago street fight for the Unlawful Entry Championship in the STW. I mean, that's just me, everyone has an opinion. Everyone says they could write better, and everyone has ideas. But when you got the same thing going on, there's the problem. It's basically Vince saying, yeah, I'm going to do it my way. Let's just rehash that. Here, a tag team. And I thought it was kind of funny, and they should have lasted more than just a month. The Flying Nuns. You guys remember the Flying Nuns, right? The WWF had team, WWE, let me be politically correct here because we don't want the World Wildlife Foundation or whatever it's called, jump down my throat. The Flying Nuns were the headbangers. That was actually pretty interesting when they came out. It's like, nostalgic memories that are coming in. The team, well done. Well done. I put them up there with like an infomercial guy. It's like Simon Dean and Skip and Zip of the Body Donnas. But what gets me is when they were doing the infomercial kind of thing, why did they use 2 ECW wrestlers? Give me your thoughts. I like to hear from you guys. So, I'm Roz. It's just a random wrestling rant. It's probably about 12 minutes on this video, maybe 11:48 seconds, 47 seconds, I don't know. So, right before the intro, well, after the intro, whatever you want to say. So, I'm Roz. Thanks for checking it out. Just running off a few thoughts out of my head. And I just basically want to see wrestling change. And only very few promotions. It's kind of funny. The Midwest actually is doing that type of change. I mean, I talked about Pro Wrestling Blitz is one of them. The World Powerhouse Wrestling, another one of them. So, I'm Rods. Thanks for checking it out, and I'll come up with a decent review next time. And I think I'm going to have to do a rock band, something of a social media find, and give my thoughts on the album and the band itself. So, peace.